the Last Chance Qualifiers. We are back for game number 2 between Noun and Vici, and if it's anything like the first one, Breaky, I'm gonna need to take a moment to unblow my mind.
10 seconds remaining.
That was a hell of a game. I mean, it really was, and it's like it was a hell of a game for some of the wrong reasons. But hey, that I talk about that all the time, where it's very rare to truly see perfect Dota, right? Like you almost don't want to see perfect Dota in a lot of ways because that can be boring, I suppose, if that makes sense. Where because mistakes happen on either side, that allows for these comebacks to start taking place and the brawling back and forth. So it was a hell of a game to cast, though, and I'm sure one to watch as well for the spectators out there. But the point is, Nouns is victorious, deserving the victory, and they're going to try to follow it up with a 2-0 here. You can see on screen there. They're feeling good about it, but hey, there's still a lot of business to be done because in the big picture, they're a 2-5 record, so still not the prettiest when you kind of zoom out. But hey, they're 2-0 in their last 2 games. So
there you go. Turn it around. There's the late bloomers is what they are. And I mean, I think the best way to think about this, I mean, you're a play-by-play, I'm a play-by-play, right? NA Dota, best Dota. Why? Because it might not be clean. It might be very messy. Your analysts might be tilted. They might be ripping their hair out. But good God, are you going to get some beautiful fights to cast?
Yeah. Tusk Enchantress opening for Nouns, going up against Hero Shaker, and then the Viper taken by Vici. So you got to wonder if it's a little bit of, yeah, we did not like that you played the last game, so we'll take it for ourselves this time around. But, already pretty good against a hero like Enchantress, for example.
Yeah, so first thing I'm thinking is Noun's going to flex this at all? So we've already seen a pos to Ench here in the Last Chance Qualifiers. I'm not going to curse it by saying that's coming again, especially with Viper now. But what I'm thinking is possibly the Tusk being flexed to the free roll. I've seen a few teams make it work. It's actually not the worst pick in the world. I'm just thinking from a keeping flexibility standpoint, because otherwise Nouns have just very bluntly said these are supports. Do with this info what you will.
Sure, and that's not necessarily the worst decision ever as far as the early picks, but yeah, it's one because neither one of those. It's not like it's not like the big support that like a Winter Wyvern, for example, right, where it has that ability that you can kind of then play around. Well, he's got the Cold Embrace. We don't want to build this heavy physical. I don't think these two are necessarily ones that you're going to be counter drafted against hard. So feel like it's still a pretty strong opening for the side of Nouns over here. Undying,
it gives you clarity, right?
Yet, but yeah,
that's true. Like Undying hasn't been, but just to your point quickly, like it gives you clarity as well, right? Like you're not gonna second guess yourself. Like these are supports, and now we draft around this. But you are right. Undying is still sitting there. I believe it got banned in the second phase of last game, right?
Yes, it was like the sixth. It was like the 6th ban, I want to say. So yeah, the second phase. Yeah.
Yeah, it was super deep in. So it got neglected for a long time. Kind of interesting that neither team is really prioritizing it right now. But for good reason. I mean, the Tusk is fully justified for Nouns after what Z-Freak done on last game. And I love the fact that Vici is sticking with the Shaker. I love the way that they found space for him to get his blink early on. And I wouldn't be surprised if we get one of these more static, slow initiation type lineups out of Vici again, with that prioritization once again given over to Frisk for a quick Shaker blink.
Undying this game right now with the draft and how it's playing out is leaning towards one that probably not going to see, though. It could be one of those rare games that actually just makes it through now of not being banned, because I don't think either team is necessarily looking to pick them up, which is just fine. We're fine with that. So, well, one that we haven't mentioned too often, but honestly maybe should bring up a little bit more, considering he is the 2nd most picked hero. Actually, looking at the stats here, Undying the 1st, of course, but Pango is 2nd, and right now Pango could certainly be an option specifically for Nouns. It still feels pretty good. They don't have that that stun through a piercing BKB effect, but you maybe don't want to 3rd pick it, but perhaps that 4th pick it could come out.
It is a little bit precarious against the Shaker, because like a good Shaker will wait to see you roll in and then it'll fidget intercept, and then you're like, great, now I'm playing ping pong myself. So it's definitely something that can be awkward to play around. And also, like, Pango to me is usually a secondary initiator. I don't like him to lead the fight. So if they want to get Pango, definitely I'd agree it has to be like Thoughtful Beyond. They need to get something else. And considering we're now seeing an Undying Breaky, I'm starting to think that Pango is not going to appear.
Wait a second, Undying coming over now. So here I'm sitting here saying,
did we just say something like this hero is not going to appear? Or
well, I mean, right, because the logic says now, unless they're planning to run either a core Tusk or, I mean, they have to run a core Tusk or Undying. They're not running a core Enchantress with that Viper on the other side. So it's a matter of which of these two they want to run as a core. I will say we haven't even seen a Tusk mid before, and now that'll maybe play out in terms of like the matchup. We'll see what they're going up against, but I guess that could also still be that flex idea with the Tusk that we were going back to earlier with even the offlane, the mid, or does it end up in the support role. But Undying certainly could be a position 3 as well. And they like the Undying, though, this game.
Yeah, but something to keep in mind now is that Ancient Apparition has a decent opportunity here. Hasn't been banned out, and this is the second healing element that Nouns have picked, while also having this kind of tanky strength hero. So definitely a possibility. The alternative is that they just say, AA, we will bait us. We'll go for heal ourselves. Love that from the IO. And the cool thing is, like, if you do need anti-heal, Viper is the type of hero that can go Spirit Vessel. Like, there's been a thing done historically regularly by him. And I think with the IO there as well, like, it actually might be the build they choose to go for.
10 seconds.
Love the Slark pick, because right now, just great in general against these 3 heroes, especially against Undying, obviously with the Dark Pact, and even Shadow Dance can certainly come into play. So, yeah, a very, very confident Slark pick, and I see why for Vici Gaming coming out with the IO pairing that we see here. So
you're right, the Pango is going to come out, so it's going to be a Gunner special. Yeah, that's definitely a Gunner pick. That's the only way I think you can make Pango work in this. If you put it off lane, then you might as well have just made this a 1-1 score. In the mid, it's not too bad because you get active quick enough. And by the way, just to your point around like the slot pick, the reason it is so absurdly good, you kind of highlighted it a lot. The Undying is probably the POS 3. And the reason that's important is that you have to think of that lane as a negative stat positive lane, right? So like Undying, steal strength, gets himself, but then Slark takes your primary stat away, which is strength, and then gets Agi in return. So it's actually not a net positive lane for Undying. It might be now Nouns want to try and like run Tusk, Ench off lane, and then have the Undying protect their core in the save.
Yeah, that's possible. And that kind of goes back to the idea that with the Tusk Enchantress already now have the Undying, and it feels like Vici Gaming, don't want to say they outdrafted her by any means, but again, it was a very good response, specifically with the Slark. But yeah, the IO we haven't even really necessarily talked too much about yet, but this does feel like a pretty fair IO game right now, in the sense that there's not a lot of kind of backline pickup. I suppose Tusk could potentially be that, but especially if he's playing the core role, that could be more reason to get him in that core role. Dare I say, not only the Blink, but even something like that Silver Edge style of build. But IO should have a fairly good time this game as well so far.
It's not like fully counted out. The decay is annoying because you can almost always guarantee you're going to get hit 2 heroes, right? The tethered one and the IO. But beyond that, it's not like you're playing up against a Shaker that's going to catch 2 heroes, right? Or a Winter Wyvern that's always going to catch 2 heroes. But something I do like about what Vici's done is they've prepped for that occurring. The cool thing about Slark is he can play independent as the game goes on, and it means that IO can tether other teammates. I always hate these one-dimensional drafts where it's like, he is going to tether Gyrocopter. It's like, well, we're just going to focus Gyrocopter then. You have no flexibility whatsoever. And to that edge, we get another hero that's independent. Puck coming out. This is a great round out for Vici. It gives them the initiation they need. There's less pressure on the Shaker to be everything in the game for them, and actually is a really good solution to the Pangolier. Prevents him from getting up into the Rolling Thunder, and on the lane, doesn't really get pressured out by the Pango as easily as other mids would.
Yeah, pretty good matchup, I think, is certainly a good reason why they feel confident with that Puck pick coming out here. So now Nouns, I mean, unless we're seeing something really radical like a position 1 Tusk or position 1 Enchant, it's going to be their position 1.
It's NA. It could be anything, right?
Who knows?
It's the drought. This is good. So the Undying is going to be the POS 5, I think, here. We'll see, actually.
There's Gunner. Ooh, offlane Tusk. Yep.
Yeah, so POS 5 Undying. Yeah, it just makes sense. Like, you do not want to go up against the Slark. The movement speed difference because he's got an IO with him, and the stat exchange just doesn't favor you. I like this diversification of the build. I actually think the Tusk offlane is pretty decent. The only awkward part is, like, sometimes it's nice to have a 4 that can farm when you can't necessarily farm anymore as a Tusk. And Nouns don't really have a backup farmer, right? It's not like you've got a Shaker on your side or a Wyvern that can push out the lanes no one else wants. Really, you've only got 2 heroes that are going to long-term farm for Nouns.
10 seconds remaining.
Drow Ranger, I'm sitting here, I'm trying to recall even from yesterday's games, but overall, 4 games seeing a 1-3 record. I want to say that maybe the couple times we saw her didn't necessarily, wasn't a losing effort. Not to say that reflects this game, but I am also kind of just feeling out the draft too that she's up against, and it feels a little scary for the Drow. And I know they have a decent front line with the Undying up there, the Tusk especially being that Coral. Pango's going to cause chaos with the Rolling Thunder. But, you know, Puck specifically, right? Able to get back in those back lines, lock you down. And Sark also, certainly a hero that could get back there and make things difficult for the Drow Ranger for staying alive. So protect the Drow at all costs is going to be the name of the game, as it really usually is, especially when she's at position 1 for Nouns. So we'll see if they're up for the challenge there. But that's what ultimately gives me at least a slight edge for Vici Gaming in terms of the draft.
Yeah, there's this fragility to the key elements of Nouns draft, right? Like the Tusk should be safe, sure. The supports, like you can say they're kind of like pseudo safe in that an Undying can bulk himself up and Enchantress doesn't care about physical attacks. But the detail for me is like the Pangolier, if he hasn't shield crashed, he's going to melt very fast. And as you mentioned, the Drow always has that issue. If they're on top of me, I'm going to be 6 feet under them. We'll have to see if they're able to optimize around that, though. They definitely have good saves. They've got good sustain as well. Double healer support, Tusk with the snowballs. There's a way that this can work, but definitely got to give a slight edge to Vici. They've got great initiation here. The IO reload, they've got the Slark for the in and out, they've got the Shaker, and as well as the Puck. And because they have that IO, they offset the immobilization that the Viper suffers from. But either way, we're definitely in for a fun game here as we hop into the second of this best of 2 between Nouns and Vici.
I love it, KP. I see people constantly coming in and be like, wait, who won the first game? Wait, Nouns won the first game? It's like, yeah, I mean, NA Dota, baby, let's go. What would you expect? No, it's, again, it's understandable, maybe a little bit of a surprise to people, but hey, they also beat Secret yesterday. You probably don't know that if you're asking that question. So let's give some respect to Nouns right here. They're showing up here. Last couple of matches especially. So this, but yeah, the draft, even though slight advantage for Vici Gaming, it doesn't feel like any glaring mistakes necessarily in the Nouns draft. I actually do like the core Tusk this game, as I was saying. If you get in that early blink, maybe even that Silver Edge potentially, get in the back lines and kill that IO ASAP. It seems like a pretty good strat. So.
Okay, I know it breaks like the feng shui, the feel we've got going on here with the production, but in the event that Nouns do take this game as well, and start to begin a real big turnaround on the points. Can we have our green screen backgrounds changed to American flags, like animated, please? I'm going to demand that. We are the Nouns watch club.
America going on as far as the song goes. Yeah, I'm down for that. Let's go. Yeah.
I mean, I know I'm a Brit, but I'm willing to get on board for that. I mean, it's a beautiful journey to see, especially after the absolute shellacking they experienced on day 1.
Non-biased casting, by the way. This is
no. Like I'm excited either way. Like I mean, these are great drafts to watch go up against each other. Like Nouns are fundamentally, they're looking to sustain through what Vici do. Like Vici are very threatening in the mid game, though. I think Nouns kind of have to dominate their lanes because Vici's initiation is very difficult for Nouns to deal with without the correct itemization.
We see that Pango versus Puck matchup. Puck, but I don't think I mentioned it, is trying to pull my stats into play right here. 0-2 in this event. Only has been seen 2 games. So another one of those heroes similar to a couple others that we mentioned where it just somewhat dropped off after the qualifiers because we saw a lot of Puck in the qualifiers.
Yeah, so if you put that in like a raw number plus negative, it has like the same amount of losses to win ratio as a Drow, right? Because you said Drow's 1 win, 3 losses.
1 and 3, yeah.
Yeah. So and then the Puck is 0 and 2. So like they're kind of level
each other out. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when we talk about the Pango and how good he's looking right now, that's another matter.
Stats don't lie, as the great Nahaz was once said.
Hopefully one
day. Not a lot of stats
to
work
again.
with.
Yeah,
he'll be back.
Yeah, you're just waiting for Dota 3, you know. Like working in like math situations, he sees 2 too often because usually you're squaring things, you're not necessarily cubing them. So
7-2, Pango 6-1 Puck. So XM holding his own.
And actually, the lane that I'm curious about is this top one, whether they can make this happen. The Enchantress is not what it used to be, so you have to be a lot more careful. But I love the fact that Mu went not for the aggression on the tag team. He opted to go for the saves here. It's a pretty smart choice because while tag team does seem desirable, you are still fighting into an IO Slark, and that means you're going into melee range against a stat-stealing hero.
Yeah, exactly. You're not going to be able to focus the Slark right in this lane, especially once he gets that Dark Pact. He already has the Pounce. You want to go for the IO, but the positioning makes it difficult. If you go for the IO, Erica will just sit on you, adding up the stacks of Essence Shift. Yeah, you do not want to do that. So it's agree there, making it difficult.
This Ghost is so damn annoying.
It is.
Yang. Yeah, he's tempting fate there. They didn't want to commit the snowball, but like if Zfreak had been in range for an extra impetus, that's just a dead IO.
You saw right there, though, Erica, they started focusing a little bit on the Yang and turns around and starts adding up those Essence Shift stacks. So.
Meanwhile, bot, the interesting thing about this bot lane is actually the Undying should buffer the Drow, right? Like typically you should be able to get the space to farm, but Viper is just such an overwhelming bully. And also you now have this threat, like if you're slightly out of position, you get blocked off by a Shaker and die. I actually think Costabile like is doing pretty well considering this lane matchup. 11-3 to the 16-3. Like he could easily be much further behind than this.
Yeah. Well, lane positioning, a big part of that. You see where it continues to be placed. You know, fairly favorable position for Costabile. And I think Husky is certainly part of that too. That's where he's coming into play. He's bodying the Earthshaker. He's not allowing him to get some free pulls and kind of get some lane positioning pulled back, if anything. So whenever you see the lane positioning in favor of the core, you always like to give that shout out to the support, as he's no doubt a big part for that.
He tips his hat. He says, I never noticed. Something I'm noticing actually is a cool detail about playing Puck with the way that runes function now with the bounties. It's just XM actually dove past the tower after Pango dived him towards the Radiant side to steal the bounty rune. It's a pretty efficient play to make, especially with the runes coming up around 4 minutes. Something that Puck and maybe a small handful of other mids are even capable of.
Top lane, there was a bit of clashing once again as the levels are starting to add up. Now I see level 3s, and again, Tusk, no tag team, is going to go level 2 Ice Shards at this point. Slark is holding his 3rd point, as waiting to see if he needs that Dark Pact or something else, whatever it calls for.
Yeah, Dark Pact is kind of low value to a certain extent in this lane. Like Zfreak for the most is always going to use Enchant on 2 creeps.
Bottom lane.
Oh. Ouch. All right, that's exactly the concern I was talking about. Even the undyingest of undyings cannot save the poor little Drow. And I mean, this is the thing, right? Undying is kind of the king of brawling the lane right now, but you just see how frustrating a Viper can make these matchups.
And you look at the lane positioning, you know, giving credit earlier as far as that's why Costabile was maybe able to not only stay alive, but get some decent CS. It's pushed up now. And so that's where Vici Gaming is taking advantage. And really that was just, Earthshaker just walked up. I mean, Husky realized it's like, oh wait, I gotta throw my tombstone down because they're just running at us. Unfortunately, it came out a little bit too late. And by the time the fissure happened, there was really no chance for the Drow to survive. So doing everything it could, but not enough in the end. So first blood going the way of Vici Gaming, as we've hit that 5-minute mark now, so nighttime is here.
5 minutes for first blood? What the hell is this game, Breaky?
Move on. Let's go. Pick it up.
Yeah, let's go tune in the stream D. I'm done with this. Wicked. It's going to get fun now because level 6 is coming on the mids. That's when this turns into a party. Both of these mids are kill makers, and they can easily rotate.
Absolutely, yeah. Both those. I was thinking the Death Coil specifically, but you're right. Rolling Thunder certainly something that Gunner can make use of if finds it necessary, perhaps with a TP in as a reaction, maybe to this bottom lane as Frisk is setting up once again in the trees. And there is supports rotating. Husky coming for the bottom rune. There's the initiation bottom lane, though. Yeah, Costabile.
He leveled the Gust. That's going to keep him alive for a moment, and then they're going to laugh in his face because they realize he leveled Gust, and he's going to die.
Well, actually, over here to the top rune, though, there's another clash as the result. Oh, Gunner, there's that Rolling Thunder. He is low, but getting the nice stun onto the Isle. The center follow-up, the back with the Rolling Thunder stun, and Isle will go down. So at least some revenge coming out for Nouns as they manage to find that kill onto the IO. But yeah, really quickly going back to what happened at the bottom lane right there. Again, that was just very smart presence of mind from Vici. They understood that Husky was likely going to rotate, or they banked on it. He went to rotate for the rune at the 6th minute. Earthshaker was set up in the trees, and they got free initiation. And speaking of the trees...
Yeah, he's in again. You can see how confident they are. Fissure off the mark, though. And now, the problem is, though, even though that fissure's off the mark, it pushes Costabile away from the dive, and it means even though they commit the tombstone, BAB will still get out.
Oh, Oh, they really wanted that turn kill. Even Gunnar TPing in here to make that turn kill happen, but it's not going to happen. Yeah, I don't know about that. Well, you saw the multi-shot coming out from Drow. They were going for it, but it was just out of range. And yeah, that seemed like a little bit of desperation, but now XM's showing up. He's got a Drain Coil, and this is a chance for Vici Gaming to make kills happen. The Waning Rift in, Undying. He's going to commit a Drain Coil for this. Yeah, he's not going to go for the second one. They're going to just secure the kill on Husky, or at least that's the thought. Yeah, they're going to get so long.
Yeah, it takes him a lot longer because he got the double decay, but like it's good what XM's doing here. Not committing the Dream Call means that Gunnar can't go in at all. Even though he's got Roll and Thunder, he can't use it now. I actually like that play. In the meantime, Frisk has gone hunting, and look what he has found. A helpless Drow on the tree line.
Dream Coil. Yep, it's going to go out right there. Perfect placement, and then Fissure's done from Frisk. They get this kill on the Drow Ranger. Now Moo at least will get the turn onto the Earthshaker. XM in a pretty awkward spot now. Rolling Thunder from Gunnar. Going to chase, he has a Swashbuckle, and that's going to be some big damage. He hits the Rolling Thunder, he does, and the Swashbuckle takes out Puck. So now they're fighting back strong. Z-Freak, Helper Smasher coming in. If he can get that slow off, maybe. There it is, the slow goes off. The heals from Io. Viper has to hold his ground, goes for the split back. Io's picked off in a double Swashbuckle. Beautiful play from Gunnar. Triple kill.
And a beautiful setup from Moo as well. Time and time again, in the right place, right time. Shard spots out the Io, gets the optimal Swashbuckle in. And sticks Pango up over the puck now. A big fight coming out. And you see what I mean about that insurance policy of the Dream Call. As soon as it's used, there's no hesitation. Gunnar is let loose on these fights. So good reactions there. And, well, at least the one upside for Vici is they're still making Costabile's life absolute hell in this game. But the sacrifice is they're giving Gunnar a great start to this one as well.
Yeah, and Pango setting up to have a pretty good game. As we talked about, the Diffusal Blade queued up, making that a priority. He finds Slark in the jungle. Don't think it's going to be a kill, but maybe try to force out a Shadow Dance, if anything. Not going to happen.
Yeah, he just gets the pounce away. Gunnar couldn't stick on top of him. The damage is just way too low. Need more bot lane, though. Right, coming in. Gust is out onto BAB, so can't protect himself with a Viper Strike. Finally gets it out at the end. And Moo, likely on here, but they do at least get the kill first.
Yeah, I think you take that, Moo. Well, yeah, especially Viper is the top net worth, so they'll take that trade if you're the side of Nouns.
Yeah, but this is what I was talking about with the Tusk, right? It's like even when you run it as a core, it's going to reach this stage where it kind of plays like a pseudo support because you can't really farm. In fairness, Moo done the right build to get decent farm. He maxed shards and snowball. Tag team doesn't really allow you to flash farm, but you still need to make rotations. It's actually a cool way to play the current meta. Because you remember when we were watching T1, we were talking about how they'd theorycraft this idea of 5-man Dota really fast. The cool thing about playing this kind of half pos-free, half not, is he can give you that element of a lot of fights early on, instead of having this kind of static off-laner like a Viper that just sits on the lane and says, either we party with me or we don't party at all.
Yeah. So I'm thinking about Slark, and I feel like a build that we are seeing a lot nowadays on the Slark is that priority of the Ag Scepter. The double pounds and especially the range increase is pretty absurd. So he doesn't have anything queued up yet, though. He just finished the Orb of Corrosion, I believe. That'll be coming out, but I'm going to keep an eye on Erica to see if anything, I'm sure he's going to get it eventually. It's just a matter of does he get it next, or will he maybe want something like that Echo Saber, for example?
Yeah.
For now.
That's what I was about to highlight. Like, I'd like to see at least Echo Saber first. I think like full-on naked rushing Ags in this type of game is a bit of a bait. You've got the Io to kind of keep you alive, and you want the Io to stick on top of you. Viper's not ready to be the new Io partner yet, so if you get these very long-distance pounces, it's going to be difficult for the Io to stick with you at all times.
Sticking together, the name of the game for Nouns. They take out the mid-tier 1. That's their first tower kill of the game. In fact, the first tower kill overall, as we're about 11 minutes in now. So good job from them, kind of grouping up and currently positioning themselves as, yep, they are going to go for a smoke play. Moo has that Falcon Blade leading the way. The Walrus Punch ready. Still doesn't have tag team, worth pointing out, but level 4 Ice Shards, level 3 Snowball. They're hunting in the bottom.
Still doesn't have tag team against a Viper, is the better way to point that out as well. A hero that really gets hurt by physical damage, not as much by magical. But so far really hasn't hurt Moo. Just means that he's always got the spells to spam out. And with the Falcon Blade, he should have the mana to use them as well. So overall, not the worst way to build this. And the cool thing is you'll get tag team eventually when the Pango and Drow need it most. But for the time being, that magic damage is going to come into effect. Easily catching Frisk out. No opportunity to throw out the Echo Slam. It's just not worthwhile as Gunnar rotates in.
Yeah. And he gets one step closer to that defusal blade now. So pretty big news there. Seeing our first pair of neutral items starting to pop out. Okay, yeah, I'm looking at it. So Slark is going to go that Echo Saber. You're talking about that. It makes a little more sense to have more of that damage / farming enhancing tool before you go the Ags, if that's what he indeed ends up going in the end. So that'll be the next set of farm for Erica, who right now is just literally focused on farming. This is not a Slark that's looking to get involved at this point of the game. Has that IL supporting. Instead, they're going to try to get Puck and Earthshaker involved as they TP and smoke up at the bottom.
Precious bounty.
Yeah, that feeling where you got pummeled last game and still managed to find farm. This time around, you haven't been pummeled, so the beast might be unleashed. And I'm curious to see if he'll opt into a BKB at some stage as well. It kind of feels bad when you look at Nouns lineup that you have to, but then you remember there's like a gust that could catch you out. And especially if Tusk starts off with a Wolf's Punch initiation, they are going to lock you down. So it might be that he has to get quite defensive to open up. Problem with going BKB first is it makes you even more reliant on IO reloads, whereas that whole Ags idea you talked about, at least as a third item down the line, gives him independence.
Well, free tower kill going to be set up for Vici Gaming as they take out that bottom tower. And it's I know we've had plenty of actions, already 7 to 5 hero kills, but the last couple 2 to 3 minutes, I would say, has certainly been both teams prioritizing avoiding one another, pushing the objectives, in this case the tier 1 towers, and getting these initial items. And I think that the Defusal Blade for Pango is the beginning of that for Nouns, where they're going to feel pretty good about maybe making something happen. The Blink, of course, for Tusk is probably that, okay, now we can really look to, start getting gank in the Slark. As I say this, they are making their way on a gank on Slark.
Erica needs to get out, but the wraparound comes in. Moo with the Wolf's Punch to hold him in place and making sure he body blocks any pounce away here. Gives him an opening. Doesn't react quick enough to stop it, and now Moo does need to get out. XM has arrived with the Witchblade, adding a lot of damage in here. XM does have to back away, though. Nouns are showing respect. They are stacking as 5, so not really easy for Vici to find picks.
Yeah, he's had that Dream Coil off cooldown for a while. That does feel a little bad if you're Vici Gaming. I'm not saying he should have just used it there, because that would have been a difficult kill, especially with supports nearby, but more so the overall idea of it, right? Like, that's one of those abilities you kind of almost expect to happen from your mid-puck, is he's going to be using that constantly. Now, he might have a chance here in the mid lane. They're going to go for Undying. Will he commit it for this? Pango's right. Yes, he will, because he's all Pango. They're going to get a kill on Undying. He got the Tombstone down, though. That's big. Sark, meanwhile, he's disarmed in the midst of that. Pango beating him down. Over here, Earthshaker at least gets the Echo Slam off before going down, but Isles picked up as well on Gunnar with that Rolling Thunder. Shadow Dance. Erica's in trouble. He is, in fact, dead. Double kill for Constabile. Fighting behind the tier 1 tower, that's always going to be a risk, KP.
Oh, absolutely. And Z-Freak added a decent amount of damage into that to quickly one-tap down 1 or 2 heroes there. So good sync up by Nouns. They punished any attempt by Vici to try and secure that tower early. The cool thing here is actually the patience that Dream Coil we talked about. Does not hesitate to commit it the moment he sees Gunnar, but it just doesn't matter in this situation. You're still diving the Radiant side. They're going to have superior position, and you have to give credit where credit is due. This Undying, the Tombstone, it makes long-term fights almost impossible for a lineup that you'd think would be good at it. Because if you actually think of what Vici want to do, they want to be in and out. Even if this fight got prolonged in these type of positions, Nouns are still going to come out ahead.
Trying to get a kill on a Pango, and it's going to come out on head for Nouns. That's going to be a little bit behind now. Erica, credit for the kill onto Gunnar. That's pretty good for him. He's already got that Echo Saber, and you look what's queued up. It's that Ags. He's got another 1,000 gold already saved up towards it. So
reload.
As good as it was for Nouns initially,
as
top up here, Earthshaker's going down, and they're going to relocate in.
Constabile just trying to retreat away. XM given pursuit here, has got the Dream Core, but slowed down by the Enchantress. Doesn't matter though. They get the kill. They'll even get the bonus to the Tombstone. Mistakes being made by Nouns. Seems the confidence has gotten to them, and now they are paying the price.
Oh, Erica's farm is just flash farming now. Nice getaway.
That Hurricane. That Hurricane play. He pushed himself to the high ground, TP's out, and they used the Dream Call and miss. He's styling.
I know I talked about XM should be using the Dream Coil maybe a little bit more. I don't mean in cases like that. I mean, no, obviously that was just very well played by Z-Freak in terms of his escape, and XM was just hoping to secure that kill. Fraction of a second too late. But yeah, just prior to that, I was sitting there making the point, even without that kill on the Enchantress, Slark just rapid fire farm all of a sudden. He was doing decent farm throughout, but between the couple of hero kills he's now gotten in the last minute or so, and the farm he's been doing naturally, he's going to get more here. He already has one component. He's another 1,000 gold almost saved up. He's going to have the Ags in the next 2 to 3 minutes.
It's the IO accelerant. Like, it actually just does add up a decent amount in here when he just keeps overcharging you, when you've got the tether to allow you to move faster through the jungle. Definitely helps. Cool thing actually about this as well is, like, as a out-of-the-action type partner situation, Slark is one of the best ones because of that extra movement speed he gets when he's not in vision. Just allows you to move around the map quicker, which means more wards going down. And also, where other carries might be slow to get in position to do something, Slark's a bit faster.
Just continue to be impressed by what he's able to do right here. But another 2,000 gold basically before that's finished. Pango, we talked about the earlier on Diffusal Blade. He's now going to be working towards his own Mage Slayer here in this game. Blink finished on Puck, though. That's another one of those items that you want to point out. That's going to be delivered. That to go with his Witch Blade. So his ability to get the catch more effectively now is going to be online.
No, I'm invested in the Houdini story after that early play. I'm like, what's C3 going to do next in this game? Hurricane Pike, more illusion coming in his beautiful form. Reload coming top though, Costa Bile, look at the TP out, but the tip of the fissure will deny him.
Nope. That's big, that's a big kill. So we've seen now a couple of times the relocate being used to secure some kills for this Slark. And he's gonna be sent right back to where he came from, which is near the Radiant Jungle. And he'll go clear that out now. But speaking of the Radiant Jungle, it's actually the Dire Jungle up here.
Frisk.
Moving around one another. They are going to jump onto Frisk. They see him. The shards are up. He's blocked in. He's basically dead. There we go. Z-Freak. We'll call that a kill secured for Z-Freak.
Wink. We'll call that a spring. Gets him close to his items. Mid lane, looking to defend here. Pango will push them away. No way they want to commit onto him. I like how they've learned from the mistakes. Feature like, wait a second, we've been here before. I could dream call him, but let's not do that.
Let's not, no. You do not want to do that again. Especially with a tombstone potential on the other. It is so risky to dive a team like this at this point of the game. There's just too many factors that doesn't make sense. Roshan, now it's apparently interested. Now, they don't, okay, I guess with the Drow, they actually do kill us decent speed, right?
Yeah, not fast speed though. Like, look at Moo and notice there's a level 1 tag team.
Yeah.
It's okay though. Like,
but it's not seen.
Yeah, it's fast, right? Like, there's no way that Vici can get in a position quick enough, right? Right? Because Shaker doesn't have Blink.
Right? Does he go?
Nah, there's no way.
Oh.
He almost stole the kill on Roche though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the difference in timing, though, because Frisk got caught out earlier on. Like, that death near Roche is what enabled that. If it wasn't for that death, Frisk would have had enough for Blink Dagger, and there's no way Nouns dream of making this play. It's just too dangerous.
God, a pre-20-minute Axe. He actually does break up the Echo Saber to use the Ogre Axe, so the Aghanim Scepter has been finished here on Slark. He'll likely refinish the Saber now, but make it priority to complete the Ags for the time being, at least. So they will finally take that Tier 1 mid, but again, with this Ags, Vici Gaming, you can just tell the mentality's changed. They're looking to go now and looking to find that jump.
Oh, this has to be a timing, right? You'd think, but there's an Aegis in play now, so that just complicated the matter. Like that, it comes back to like I already said it once, but I can't emphasize how important it was that kill on Shaker. It sets back his Blink timing, allows them to now get their hands on Aegis, and by doing so, when the Ags comes out, Vici are going to be a little bit more hesitant because Nouns are more willing to fight.
Pango has that roll up now, speaking of willing to fight. So nice defensive measure that he can certainly use to avoid and reset.
I think they wait for Mage Slayers and then go. Like, once they have Mage Slayer, just think of the damage loss that Vici have, right? Shaker's not going to do that much. Park, of course, is going to be crippled. Even the Viper is going to be hard hit.
As a Hurricane Pike finish from Costa Bile. So that's one of 2 Hurricane Pikes here on this Radiant side. We mentioned, hell, Enchantress getting the Hurricane Pike before the Drow Ranger.
Look at his farm. Like, look at C-Freak's farm. That's the +4. Rotation
that's pretty
coming.
good. Don't underestimate his damage with those impetus.
Oh, yeah.
It's quite a bit. That with the Hurricane Pike, absolutely.
The mobility as well. Like, against this type of composition is going to be really frustrating for Vici. Like, they can't lock down easily for the Slark. Everything's going to be in the park. Initiate comes in with a War's Punch. Jump on the back line. XM starts them up, but everyone's out of position. He can't go for the Dream Call play, and Relo was just wasted. Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah, so This will be interesting. Does he get out of here? He's got tether ready. Frisk is setting
the
up.
snowball.
The snowball on top. I love it. Yeah, it's going to be a silence, though, and the impetus will happen, and down goes IO. It's not worth committing more to try to save the IO.
No, you can see, like, XM, like, it's ballsy the way he commits to these locations, but it's because the draft he's up against don't have great lockdown for a puck outside of Gust. Once Gust is used, puck is more or less free to just go wherever he chooses in these fights, but it doesn't matter where you can go. There's no turnaround. Your opponents have the high ground there, and for anyone that's watched enough Star Wars movies, they know you don't fight.
I almost had a moment right there as far as like who was a Radiant, who was a Dire. It almost seemed like Vici was playing as if they were the Radiant, the way they were running down right there almost to the base. But no, it is the opposite. But yeah, now it's a good pick for them. And you can also tell, as soon as a Tombstone went down, props to Vici at the same time in terms of just retreating. That's not something you want to fight into. They are very aware of that. So they made the point to get out. It just wasn't enough for IO. Just relocate. Got sucked back in, but in the meantime, Nouns is going to push the top lane. And Vici Gaming, they have a blink on Earthshaker now, so that's that with the puck. Their initiation has become much more stronger. But this top tower, it's still taking a beating.
There's no way you commit the whole team to defend this. XM's just going to try to slow it down, but this is one of the, if not the hardest tower to defend outside your base. If your team is not in position in your jungle, your opponents will be. So you should just see Vici allow this. Once they get any info that there's more heroes here, they're just going to back up entirely and go for the trade.
It's almost like the sniper effect. There's no sniper in this game, but both Z-Freak and Constable are just standing very far away from that tower.
Yeah, you know, Spoink is the new ho-ho-ha-ha, right? So
we saw, we actually saw somebody get the Ags on. Was that the Thompson?
Yeah, it was Thompson. Yeah, it was Thompson. So for those wondering what we're talking about, it was a Thompson Ench 2 game where he went Ag Spoink, which is a very funny ability. I really wish that you could choose the direction you cast it in so you could use it to chase. It would actually be a kind of okay Ags if it wasn't for that detail. Because it pushes you back, right? So you have to be looking away for the direction you want to go in. Bot, though?
They're jumping in.
They got him.
Yeah, the retreat, though. I mean, again, no Tombstone used, but Vici is not going to force a fight here. They do a good job, Frisk, with the Great Fissure initially, and then just simply running away proves to be the best strategy right there. So you can tell Nouns is attempting to make use of this Aegis in terms of making a big fight happen, but Vici Gaming, they're playing this very well. They have a 3,000 net worth lead. They're going to ultimately burn the Aegis on the other side as a result of they're just constantly avoiding, and they're working on their next tier of items, and specifically Erica going towards a BKB. Of course, good critical item there. Viper having the Hurricane Pike and, well, his own BKB. So that's kind of the next window that we're looking to hit if you're Vici Gaming before maybe then they'll be more comfortable to take a fight.
The worrying part about that Aegis is, like, you can call it a farming Aegis, but I don't really know if that's a fair name for it when your opponents out-farm you still. Like, the Slark didn't get slowed down courtesy of the IO moving around so quickly. The Viper also still done respectably well. And, of course, Puck, no stranger to just shoving dangerous lanes freely in these type of games. So, kind of unfortunate for them. And now Vici, realizing they still have the net worth lead, realizing they still got their farm everywhere at once, are going to smoke and look to make a play.
Yeah, doing it before the BKB timing on Slark, but feeling still confident. He just pounces in almost blindly. They don't catch anyone initially, but they're going to catch Z-Freak. Although the force staff away, the double force staff, and he's fine. So yeah, the catch in very, minute terms, I suppose. It didn't actually catch him. Double force staff helping to get away, but they're still posturing as if they want to fight this.
I don't know about it though. Echo Slam comes in under the Pangolier, follow up. Looks like it should be good enough, but no, he gets out. Sidesteps it and moves away, courtesy of the roll up. He will survive. Shaker goes down. Not really the way you want to utilize your blink in the first big fight. Reload to try and get out is interrupted. Yang not easily able to escape. Does bait in the commitment out of move, but in a choke point, Swashbuckle should be good enough. However, it is not. Gunner is caught in the tree lines. Vici get the turnaround due to Nouns' overconfidence.
That Hurricane Pike pushback, but what do we say about a Slark in the game? The last thing you want to have happen in a fight is have it last forever. And that's what's happening here. The stacks are adding up. He can't get the pounce. The mobility of both the Gentris and the Drower is too good. Yang just explodes, and XM, he's next in line. He's going to go under. Can he get out of this? Yo, not really. The Winning Rift, not the most interesting. No, the silence from the Gust. And they will secure the turn kill onto XM. So just as I'm talking about how the longevity of the fight should be the fortune of Vici Gaming, it's not. They got too dive heavy, going to tier 3s almost, but the kiting of the Drought and the Enchantress specifically is proving to be too difficult to handle.
Absolutely. Like, it's kind of funny how that went from this team overextended to that team overextended, this team overextended. Like, it's just a back and forth affair. It's almost like these guys are a frat party and they're doing something cocky, and it's like the other person's like, I can do better than that, right? They break an ankle. It's like, I can outdo that. They break a leg and an ankle. I can beat that. They break their back and die, right? It's kind of just like who can go a little bit further. And I agree, like, both sides have elements to their draft that utilize that well. Slark loves this in and out play game style, but the Enchantress is definitely milking it. And I love the fact that they're prioritizing farm on Ench, because something we haven't talked about yet is how the Drow enables you. Marksmanship is brilliant with this hero. It's why you're seeing him get so much gold under his belt. This whole draft decision around the Tusk was by design, and now it's going to enable them to fight more. Io, able to stay alive, courtesy of the Slark saving the day with the Depth Shroud. And now they look to push him. BKB comes out from Costa Bile. They already expended the Echo Slam to limited effect. Gunner is going to force the reactionary BKBs. They will at least find Z-Freak. As well as taking out Moo, but it takes a long time.
It does take forever, man. That hero is ridiculous, but yeah, in the end, they do secure the kill on Z-Freak. Again, you look at what happened there, really, is they kind of zoom out. Both supports going down. Now, gold exchange, 1,500 advantage for Vici Gaming, so it actually proves to be a very significant fight for them. And that does seem to be the theme, even with how that played out in the previous fight, right, where they fought back, they killed XM, and they were able to keep alive, especially on the Drow Ranger. Nouns isn't necessarily gaining ground, though. They're not getting ahead. They're not getting ground. In fact, it continues to be the opposite of the network slightly continuing to go in favor of Vici Gaming. So they need more than what's happening currently, is the point. They need a fight to really just be, completely in favor of them. So as great as they are at staying alive, it's the getting the kills that's proving to be the issue, especially on the Slark.
Well, you have to... Oh, pause that thought. Has to be late. Being punted. They've baited Erica in. He'll get away for the moment. Might be forced to commit the Shadow Dance just in time before he would have locked on the spot. But Gunner isn't giving up. Need to, though. Wait, he might get counterattacked here. Okay, just out of range. So the point I wanted to make, though, is, and you're kind of seeing it here, is the issue in Nouns draft is in a kind of net neutral game, you're behind. Like, your draft can't actually play the map freely. They're not showing on lanes at all. They poke a little bit of Drow, but like, look at Moo top. He can't come out the tree lines. Whereas Vici can, because they've got this reload play. They've got the Puck that can go in and out. They've got the Slot that can go in and out. They are more free to play riskily on the map than Nouns ever will be.
I'll say this about Undying as well. I mean, I'm sure Decay is still being fairly useful, sort of everything else, but honestly, the Tombstones are just useless. It's almost like they're being placed down fairly aggressively anyways. That's just kind of like a, hey, focus this for a couple of seconds while we kind of retreat or reset in this fight. He's not expecting it to stay alive because it just simply won't, as we've seen multiple times now. So that's something that, is worth keeping in mind in terms of how these fights are happening, that they don't necessarily have that tool of the Tombstone like you would in some other games.
Yeah, it's funny because you mentioned earlier the Tombstones were looking good, and they were, because they were able to find the back line. Vici's back line can't get away. It's their front line that can. So when Vici initiates, they're strong. And they're initiating right now, jumping on top of the ground, but nice disengage out of Nouns. Wait, Moo? Oh, no! Jump in, BKB gets forced out. Commitment to Erica, follow-up looking good here from Gunner. But once again, Shadow Dance there to save the day. Reload out means they can easily reset.
The damage just isn't, they don't have enough burst to kill this Slark. You need the burst, they don't have it. There's a Tombstone on the uphill, so maybe this one's going to be a bit more useful. Popping the BKB on Viper, they'll go for custom, he popped his own BKB, Hurricane Pike away. He's good for now. Nope, actually not going to pour it in is Puck. Meanwhile, back here, they do take out Tusso, trying to kill. Viper is trying to kill that Tombstone, he will get it killed. Finally, Earthshaker's falling on the other side. Yeah, of course Z-Freak is still alive. He's Enchantress. He's going to heal up. He's surviving against XM.
Yeah, it's okay, the real carry's still alive. Meanwhile, BAB might be in a bit of a pickle here, especially if he gets disarmed, but nope, no luck for Gunner. Turn around upon, push back, trying to get him out of range. Is going to fall. Yang is going to be taken in return. Z-Freak still the true carry of Nouns here, pushing XM away. But on the backside, the carry of Vici is going to get another freebie.
I want, yeah, there's the freebie we're talking about. Speaking of Z-Freak, is he actually dead now? Oh, no! Gobi! Oh, no! Oh, no! He's gonna get killed! Oh,
he had so bad!
Oh, he just was so caught in the moment that he just whiffed completely, and he ends up dying for it. That's the last thing I'm sure he expected. Oh, boy.
Breaky, he had Shadow Dance and a ward down. I didn't quite catch that. Was there Drow Invis still? I'm pretty sure the Invis had ran out.
I don't know.
I mean, I want to replay on that because that's an important detail. Like, he misses the pounce, and it's almost like he let go of his mouse and keyboard and face-palmed himself. Because he should have been able to get out. Like, Shadow Dance was off cooldown. Something
I was going to say, though, prior to that complete whiff, unfortunately, was that, again, the longevity of that fight. I was going to say, highlight the stacks of Essence. He had over 30 stacks of Essence shift. I mean, they were just going ham, as you would expect with a long fight like that. But he doesn't make him unkillable by any means, especially in a moment like that, caught out in isolation against the Drow. So, yeah, we're going to see here on the replay.
I mean, like, add to your point how many Essence shift stacks he had and how long that fight was going on for. Like, Shadow Dance came off cooldown. That's a 45-second cooldown. That's quite a long way. But we might have to pause that for. There's another fight going on. War's Punch in the mid lane. Frisk has been found. Follow-up kill on a BAB as well. Forces out the BKB. Reload will get them out safely here. We'll never know the true story of Erica because new stories are always being written.
Relocate out, but IO, they want to save him. You see Slark staying nearby, but the immediate timing of the knockup, the gust, and he's able to still get it off, but it might not matter. Gunner's in. Gonna use that roll once again with the Ice Shard block, and they lock down XM further. The gem has dropped. 3 are dead again on Vici Gaming side, and guess who's up? It's Roshan. They're going right for Roshan.
Yeah, we're done killing heroes. Time to kill this poor innocent beast. You know, it's pretty sick the way they treat this thing in the pit. You ever notice that? That they essentially kill this poor innocent beast and then rip out his heart and wear it as a hat. Right, Dark Story's over though.
So graphic, man.
It's so true though. Right, you want graphic though? Did you see how effective the combo of Tusk and Pangolier is? This is usually a griefing combo. Yet the only person who got griefed in that fight in mid was the poor little Puck that was hoping to phase shift away. Great play out of Nouns. Gets back-to-back objective now. They'll be able to shift for the tier 2 mid. And all of a sudden, this game is pivoting towards the side of Radiant.
Something that is worth pointing out, I suppose, maybe overlooked there, is that Slark was out of mana, apparently, when that play did happen, so he didn't actually have the mana even for a Shadow Dance at that last second. But kind of off of that thought, I don't know if it necessarily was the case, as he was spamming abilities in general, but Diffusal Blade on Pango, of course, burning that mana, and that may have played a factor, too, in terms of making it so he wasn't able to cast it again. But either way, what happened, and what's happening is now it's shifted this game completely. I mean, we were stressing how even though they were kind of winning some fights on paper, it wasn't really looking the best for them in terms of net worth still. They were still even falling behind, but that has now officially shifted. They have a 2,000 net worth lead, and Drow is starting to get beastly. She has a full Silver Edge, and she's now queuing up that Butterfly.
Yeah, she's been put on a podium. Like, there's a very different approach to these two drafts. For Nouns, it's this God Drow that might even get a freebie here on Yang. But on the other side, the cool thing what they've done on the side of Vici is, and I love this, we've seen this more, we saw it with Anna as Pudge all the time, they turn their carry into a saver as well. Depth Shroud is such a useful tool and has actually saved the day multiple times to the supports in this game. And I do love that playstyle, but end game, I do feel like Costabile comes out ahead with the way that he's building here. Like, he could easily wipe Vici while Vici are trying to save each other.
Yeah, and the one response that I guess I have, too, is that are they lacking damage with him going that? You know, it's one thing to go the Ags, but that's another 1,400 gold that they're investing into that ability, which I get does have its purpose, but they need to figure out more ways to kill this Drow specifically, let alone the Enchantress. And I don't know if that's necessarily an item that allows for that, other than they take on, a reset, get back in better positioning. Speaking of positioning, they are positioning right now to set up an initiation.
Don't know. Oh, he gets stunned. They're hesitant to commit though. Like, they know there's a team behind this. Yep. Swashbuck was away again, and they forced the Puck to go in. He used the Dream Coil. But not doing enough. The Echo Slam follow-up looking good here. Drow caught out of location, able to back away, but Aegis now gone. Tombstone down, which means now Vici need to retreat, but unable to get out. Fissure plus Ice Shard. Gunner's got his little playground.
And that was a tombstone that actually proved to be very useful, because you could tell they did not want to fight into it, especially with the placement and the retreat there from Nouns initially. But Slark got caught out. The Tusk knockup allowed for the eventual beatdown. They're going to get IO as well, but Slark is out for 50 more seconds. So whatever farm he's trying to make here. Working on the Eye of Scotty next. That'll be delayed that much longer, and even more gain for Noun from it.
And to your point earlier, well, we got a chance before blood gets spilled again, because I guarantee it's coming. Around the idea of depth trap, whether it's worth it. Think of that 1,400 gold investment as an exchange for 110 attack speed. That's what the Eye is going to give you if you can keep him alive. Problem is, Eye is not living anymore. Like, they're so effective the way they've utilized this Pangolier. Gunnar, I was starting to think that he was just a side note in this game, but the more you think about it, the way that he's synced up with Moo multiple times now to utilize those ice shards, and also if the fissure is misplaced, it's just a bonus Wolfie to bounce off of. This Pangolier's CC is going through the roof.
Yeah, the Rolling Thunders have been insane. This has been one of the more impressive uses of that ability that I've been witnessing from the couple that we've seen in this event, at least so far. It has certainly been a very, very valuable tool. Not only it's the roll up initially, kind of that defensive measure to be like, you can't really jump him, and then that allows him to then turn it on and go the other way. So having plenty of those moments. Drow Ranger, by the way, an Eagle Song, she almost has that full butterfly. Her level 20 talent, by the way, too, going the -4 gust cooldown, so that's down to 9 seconds, so has more of that silence and pushback and slow and everything it does.
Yeah, he's just saying that, like, Puck, please build a BKB, because Puck still doesn't have one, so that's a risk that Puck has to be fully aware of. And yeah, the interesting thing about this Pangolier in this game and the way Tusk helps you is, like, it wasn't really thought of in the past because, you know, when Pango first came out, you didn't have the Ag Shard. Now you've got the Ag Shard, it's very easy to do the Ice Shard setup and then turn 90 degrees and bounce back and forth. Whereas before, if you wanted to make this play work, you had to come in from a side angle, jump over the initial Ice Shard with the Shield Crash, and then bounce back and forth.
Radiant are scanning.
Love this Halberd pickup from Moo on the Tusk. Good tool that they have to take advantage of, and he queues up the Axe next, so that kick is something that we can look forward to as well eventually. But they're smoked up, they're moving, they find Viper. Any TP support? Not yet so far. Looks like maybe off the side from IL, but the BKB TP out is enough for BAB to get out and survive. IL, he'll just stay in the trees. No kill as a result of that 5-player smoke.
Yeah, the good news is they still have an ability to BKB TP out, because as it stands, a lot of the time Nouns are initiating with the Walrus Punch. They don't have any other way of piercing magic immunity with stuns, because this isn't a basher build for Pango. In fact, if you look, Pangolier is going a very different way. Survivability. Aeon Disc instead.
Yeah, that's it's pretty. I mean, I'm kind of sitting here trying to think as far as the idea of it. I mean, I guess, of course, it prevents, you know, being bursted down is the best thing about it. The purging of it as well is certainly really nice, too, to give him that mobility to then get away, or like we've seen, again, multiple times, kind of reset and actually co-pack it himself. That gives him that freedom to do so. So, yeah, I can see why the logic to the Aeon Disc makes sense there, but I also noticed the Butterfly just officially finished on Drow Ranger now. And that feels like certainly one of these Juggernaut-style items in terms of it could really enhance her and try to, you know, start finishing this game now if you're Nouns. But still a lot of game left, I'm sure.
Definitely. So Gunner's approach here is like, I don't want to Rolling Thunder and then get Dream Called. I want to be Dream Called and then Rolling Thunder afterwards. Aeon Disc just guarantees survival. The Force Staffs have helped a lot with that as well, but let's say they get you low health, you get Force Staffed out, Aeon Disc is still going to keep you alive. It's a pretty crafty way to play, because his goal is just to CC a character. That's all he has to do. So we can CC on an illusion this time. Moo not able to get that initiation he's looking for. And Vici now fully aware of where Nouns are, smoked up and rotating.
I love the triple Force Staff, by the way, on Nouns. He has Undying builds one as well. It's we've seen again with the Drow and the Enchanters alone how that's been so effective. Why not throw another one on Undying? Hell, maybe Tusk will eventually pick one up too. Wouldn't be surprised, honestly, at this rate. But Vici, they're actually pushing the tier 2. This is very interesting because Nouns currently behind them, and they're going to go tier 3. So Vici has to be the one to react.
You need to be careful, actually. Okay, yeah. So he doesn't lose your ult the right way. Moo was looking to jump him with a Walrus Punch. They could actually potentially kill a Puck in that burst window. So need to be careful with that. And you're right, they are flanking, smoking back towards this Vici. You just can't easily go into the high ground blind. Frisk immediately blinks away. They just have no info right now. I love the way that Nouns are setting up here as well. The reason is that Roche might spawn in 20 seconds, so they're just prepping for that.
Yeah, red timer about to wear off, as you mentioned there, so keep an eye on that to see what the true timer is in terms of that respawn, but at least the next couple of minutes you'd figure. So if anything, it's just, again, keeping that position in control if you're Nouns. That's what they're doing as they use the multi-shot to push out that middle lane. I don't even know if we mentioned it this game, but yeah, the Frost Arrows was picked up earlier on Drow too. And again, it goes without saying, another good tool to have.
It's just so good.
In this game, yeah.
Yeah, it's actually really, really good in this game. So usually I love it just because of the IO, and I think a lot of teams pick it when they see the IO. It's because usually an IO gets followed up by a second layer of sustain. And the deceptive part of sustain for Vici in this game is the Slark. Because with Frost Arrows, you can still hit him, right? With the multi-shot, you can still hit him even when he's Shadow Dance, so you negate some of his healing.
Slark going the blink really wants a tool to just get, even with the 1200 range double pounds, it still feels like he needs another tool to get on top. And I can't blame him. Again, all these force staffs, the Hurricane Pikes, etc. It's so difficult to truly stay on that target for him and help secure a kill. So I certainly see where he's going with that. I'm sure that'll turn into a swift blink eventually as well. But
I do see a problem with this build, though. Like, Slark is more and more utilizing to just kind of be the frontline tank, which you usually do, but it means you're not necessarily getting additional burst. If anything, it feels like they're strategizing where Viper takes that role of right-clicker. You can see him going for MKB next. This would be a great plan if it wasn't for the fact that Nouns already got the counter. Mu has a Heaven's Halberd. So, the start of these fights, BAB is not going to be doing anything. It might be very difficult to get the initial burst kill. Speaking of burst, bye, Frizz.
That was almost a one-shot. Yeah, XM, though, he's going to be disarmed, however, speaking of the halberd, and not really much coming of that, but it does prevent XM from being interested in going further. So the quick burst, and just like that, Peachy's down a player, and they are once again going to try to avoid, but they only going to avoid so far. Gunner, they caught Yang. Does he manage to get to the link? Oh,
wait, what? Yeah, please come back for this kill. Almost getting ahead of himself there. So they pick off the IO. He captures the outpost for about 20 seconds before it's taken back. Not the best way to trade your life. But he at least forces all of Nouns back to their side of the map when the Shaker's dead. So a little bit of breathing room, and you instantly see Vici move out to try and de-ward their own jungle and take control again. But, oh, wait, Breaky. Who has the wards to de-ward our jungle? Is it the supports that are dead? Yeah.
Yeah, that would be it. There's some ward going down. Vision at least, and that's the opening apparently to find a jump on Undying. So they're going to go for the quick kill on him. Gunner nearby was taking over the outpost still, so they lose Undying. He popped back though immediately. He's TPing right back in next to them because they took over the outpost. The Undying is going to be popped on Pango. Mu. BKB's up, the Walrus punch, but XM manages to make it away. BAB though, different story. He's slowing down. He can knock it away. Usually he's the one that's doing this though. It's Drow this time. The multi-shot knock up on Erica. Already had half left. Those auto attacks is burning through that life pool. He has to blink or bounce away even. But it's unbelievable how fast he just dies. But yeah, Pango is dead.
They bought back on the Viper. They definitely want more out of this. The problem is, like, what do you have less to expend if you're Vici? You use literally everything there, but you start to see what Nouns are capable of doing. This Slark, like I said, because he's going for this kind of tanky, long fight, he's not getting there anymore. Nouns have optimized to kill a target as quickly as possible. And speaking of things they kill quickly, they are already in the Roche pit, melting through poor little Roshan. Aegis Cheese and Refresher Shard now in the hands of Nouns. And Vici with a big weakness here. Their Viper bought back, as did their Shaker. Either of these guys go down, their base is going to be fully exposed.
Yeah. Interesting. Undying is the one with that refresher shard, that is. So we'll see how that comes into play for him. But yeah, the Aegis on Drow Ranger, the big factor there. Of course, she's heading back to base. She also has 4,000 gold saved up. So
good lord,
she can get that next big tier item here in the near future. Looks like the eye of Scotty is going to be that choice. But we talked about the possibility of the Swift Blink on Erica as he was going to Blink Dagger, and sure enough, that is next. And you know, the Swift Blink will be great. I mean, that move speed increase is actually going to be a big factor too. So it seems like Vici, that's maybe, dare I say, as I've been saying, you know, the next tool that they need before they can actually feel like they have a chance of coming back now.
And by the way, to that Drow, like, it's important we come back to that and highlight it more. Like, you talked about how hyped the Butterfly is going to be. We never mentioned the fact there's Elven Tunic as well. That's a hell of a lot of evasion. What was your counter meant to be? Was it not going to be the MKB Viper? The Viper that just bought back, so is now even further away from the counter to Nouns Wing Condition.
Yeah, that is hitting that Drow Ranger is actually, it's already difficult literally getting in range to hit her, let alone when you do, and dealing with the invasion on top of that.
Yeah,
to the other gods that you're able to.
And like, if you do go in, you're not getting out now, right? With the Skadi soon complete, like, you can actually see he's almost got what he needs for it. I don't actually know how you address the Drow. Once, let alone twice.
Yeah, true. Technically 3 times because she has buyback, so
let's not get ahead of ourselves. She hasn't got enough to buy boots of travel as well. All right, we're not. Actually, if she keeps holding like this, she would have buyback and boots.
Yeah.
On Thunder, jump in, Gunner, looking for target straight away onto XM. Hex to follow up. Moo does back away from this, and it looks like Gunner will have to make his way out, so not find the big target. And the Aeon Disc proc means that Nouns will have to fully retreat.
Yeah, but I mean, look at what's happening. I mean, Vici is sitting in their base just dealing with this freaking Pango rolling around, creating that chaos, and it's like you can't do anything from it, though. They lost a little bit of tower life. It almost died, but if you're now, it's like, okay, we just fall back now. We take up the jungle. We secure more of that. Tier 4 items, I guess have already been dropped, never mind, so Tier 5 is still a bit of ways, but the point is, I don't think Nouns is necessarily in the biggest hurry to try to overextend and finish this. So yeah, they're going to wait out their cooldowns to make a play, but Vici knows this, though. Yeah,
not exactly long cooldowns either. It's already a cooldown again, and they're holding the high ground. So Vici, they're going fishing for kills, but you just can't play blind these areas. I mean, Nouns, they've done a great job of this through most of the game. They get the high ground vision, and they prevent Vici from getting any either. However, finally, Vici are getting a little bit of info of what's in the area. The problem is, like, they just can't do anything with it. It's too hard to breach. And it feels like you're maybe better served just shoving the lanes and farming, but if you walk away from your base, at this stage, the Drow is going to take a lane.
Yeah, she can certainly beat through those towers very quickly. How about the smoke play from Nouns? Are they going to go for the jump on? Yeah, it seems like they had a half a second there to maybe make a play and go for a jump, but worth it. They eventually come out, and they're just literally knocking on the door. It's no one's answering just yet, but eventually they're going to go back in. What's Pango looking like? Yeah, his Aeon Disc is good. Obviously, Rolling Thunder good, so wouldn't be surprised to see Gunner go back in. But you talked about, it feels like Vici maybe needs to split push. That's what XM is doing now. He's pushing the top lane, so he's kind of forcing a decision out of Nouns in terms of what they do here.
And they're going to want to commit. They've only got a minute of Vegas left. They want to get something out of this. Rolling Thunder coming in. Be able to force stuff away. Erica being hunted for in the trees. They do clip him. They just want to push him away. If they can at least get the tower to start here, at least have got something out of the Aegis.
I mean, just look how defensive Vici has to be. But yeah, there's the jump. So.
Like they barely touched him. You saw it. Slark, I think, attacked 3 times in 1 hit. Oh, this is infuriating.
it's what, isn't it? It's like one of those frustrating, it's like you feel for Vici Gaming right now. It's like, God, this is so,
oh my God,
Whew.
A little bit too close. So once again, commit on him, but you just can't kill Costabile first. You have to kill the supporting arc. Z-Freak able to get away, though. Just no easy kills. It feels like your easiest kills maybe an Undying, but do you really want to be committing onto the POS 5 Undying first?
No.
Was that a yes or a no?
No, it was that. I mean, that's a good point, and the answer is no. That's where I was
about to whip up the pub games break. I'm like, man, you cannot commit on those POS 5 Undying. They are spooky.
Well, especially if he gets that level 20 talent right at the Tombstone on
Lord.
death, then all of a sudden you're having to deal with a tomb. It's like you would almost rather not kill him at that point. Another one of those, but yeah, I mean, Aegis is eventually going to be burnt here, so full life, full mana on the Drow, and immediately Vici pushes out. They know that this is the time and going to try to catch him off guard. XM jumping in, gets hexed up though, and now the Rolling Thunder counter the beat down of the Mark. There's some auto attacks, but they do get to stop a Drow. As I say that, there's a Forest Staff that has the BKB as mentioned. They turn around on top of Sark, sitting around trying to go for the kill up on XM. They do get the kill, but Erica still wants that kill on Drow. The snowball save for the time being though, and look at that dying in the midst. The Flesh Golem has been activated. Drow manages to stay alive, getting healed up, and Sark running out. Erica 25 plus charges on top of the 10. But it just doesn't matter. He cannot kill this Drow.
It's just, you saw what happened, right? Drow's like, ha ha ha, stupid slot. Wait, why am I attacking a slot? Turns on the Viper, instantly eviscerates him. This is your counter to the Drow. This is your endgame solution. Or at least it was meant to be. But ever since Vici were forced to commit the Viper buyback, it has been anything but that. This is becoming a free game for Drow, and it's a difficult scenario to paint where Vici dig themselves out this hole. I mean, it's a 17k net worth lead. We're in a situation where Roche could be 2 minutes away. Nouns are in no rush to end this. They're at a point where this Drow will continue to escalate too quickly for the Viper to keep up now.
She got the 12% marksman chance as well at level 25, so even more damage coming from that. Speaking of that, Puck is 25 too. So that Dream Quill now pierces magic immunity. So maybe a bit of a factor that we have to keep in mind. But you see this push again. The Tombstone's up. just rinse and repeat here, right? It's like keep going back to what do you do if you're Vici Gaming, especially down to Viper for 35 more seconds, and now they're feeling understandably comfortable. I mean, he's gonna jump in to try to kill the Tombstone,
You just
and he can't even do that.
The problem for them now is like the reason they need to target the Tombstone is these fights aren't quick. So even though they can go in and out, like there's indifference to it. Like you need to go in and kill someone. Like it spits in the face of exactly what Vici Gaming's draft is meant to do. And that's why they're struggling to do anything now. Like they drafted specifically around the idea of prolonged fights and in-out engagements. Nouns won't give that to them anymore.
No, it's they're not looking to do that, and they got 2 sets of racks now. Oh, excuse me, one set of racks, I suppose. They only got the 2 or 3 bottom lane, so it's not as critical as thought for Vici Gaming, at least in that perspective. But another 30 seconds, another Roshan could be potentially spawning. So no surprise. I'm sure we're going to see Nouns look to go make a play. Vici Gaming, they're setting up for a smoke. It looks like they are at least. Puck, by the way, we haven't really talked about Puck's inventory for a while, but you see what he has now. Octarine Core, he's got the overwhelming blink. So again, they're really just trying to figure out ways to just slow down this Drow, especially. That with a swift blink on Slark, it really does seem like, in theory, KP, that they should be able to kill this Drow, but
you'd think, but here's an interesting thought for you. Like, Nu, the way that he's built, like, he has 6.4 seconds of single target lockdown. So you Walrus Punch, you Snowball, then you Hex. That's actually long enough to kill a Puck, right? Like, he's got the Aeon Disc prepped, which is his only redeeming factor now. But here's a scary detail for you. Walrus Punch is on an 8.8 second cooldown because he's got the Spell Prison. Snowball is only a mediocre 12 seconds. Like, he's got a ridiculous amount of CC in prolonged fights. Well, here we go again. That was no time whatsoever.
What do you think of the Axe too? Tusk. Okay, so now he has the kick.
They've left the gem.
It's not important. Well, they already have one on Tusk, so that's actually a second one there, yeah.
Yeah, but it's just like the idea of, you know how some people sneak in, and we've had it in the past, where what is it with players leaving cheese on the ground in Roche? This is like, we're leaving a gem there.
If somebody goes for it, they're dead. Like, that's the trap play, right?
They'll pick it up anyway, so it's going to go back to base. They've got a reserve gem now, and Tusk. Things are going to get spookier. He's got the Axe now, so I talked about all that CC. That just increased further. Erica looking for the jump in straight away onto Husky. They do get rid of the Undying. They've already used the Shadow Dance and the BKB. The stun comes out from Gunnar. Has got the passion to work with, and the follow-up comes in and connects onto the Puck. Aeon Disc procs just in time. But now all your tools are gone. It's very difficult for you to defend the follow-up.
Dying staying dead, but what do we say? He level 20. He did go the talent of popping up that tombstone when he dies.
Still there.
So sure enough, exactly. His aura is still here. His ability is still here. So it's going to wear off in a second, but yeah, I mean, they killed Undying. Great, you know, clap your hands. But it's still so much more needs to be done. The double damage rune is down here, by the way, but I don't think they see it. So luckily for Vici, they're not going to pick it up. But
I love that about Undying, right? It's kind of like, you know, when people like, they're gone, but they're still with us, right? It's that kind of poetic feeling with Undyings in these type of games. So jump in. Eric has the Shadow Dance again. Gunnar does get the wrong Thunder off. Willing to commit now. And Viper has committed too deep. Needs to get away. Costabile connecting. Ice Shards follow up as well. Depth Shroud can't protect him. Or maybe it can. The blink away just in time. Keeps the Viper alive somehow. Vici are playing the in and out strategy.
That's insane that Viper actually lives that. So, of course, Io's dead, but I cannot believe Viper managed to be able to get enough time out of combat to be able to blink away there, but manages to do so.
I mean, it's a Depth Shroud, my friend. What an ability. Like, okay, can we just emphasize how potent Depth Shroud is? Check Slark, hover on it, and see the range on it. I think that's where this gets nuts. How far away he was when he saved BAB was absurd there. Yeah. Look at it.
It's pretty good. I mean, again, it kept him alive, but
and I'm thinking like comparative abilities. Like Shallow Grave doesn't actually have that much more range than Depth Shroud. That's
support Slark, baby.
Pretty nuts. It is a long cooldown. Like, I'll admit that. Like, it's 75 seconds, but it's just such a cheap pickup for so much impact. You're just seeing the value in this.
At this point in the game, especially, I think it would have been crazy to see it not have it. I think when he got it, that's the argument to be made. It's like if that was the timing to get it or not. But yeah, at this point, certainly there is a ton of value.
Stuns.
Initiation. Boom. Popping the BKB though. immediately. Dreamquill going through the back lines, but here goes Gunner.
Gunner's
Through the
in.
back lines. He jumps on Viper. He probably wants to get out of this, though. He's going pretty deep. There's a roll-up. He's just keeping the lock.
Oh my
The
God,
kickback from Taz. And he says, Depth Shroud this! You're not going to do it. He buys back immediately. So all 5 are still up, but with the Tombstone there now, too. What does Nouns do? Double damage.
Now, I think we've been here before, Breaky. If you have a look at the Viper, you can see he's working towards an MKB, has 500 gold, but we've been here in the past. Now Jumping comes in, Roller Thunder once again there. The silence as well. Puck is just gone. Dead for 125 seconds and no buyback.
Yeah, 2 minutes. That's... I'm not going to say it. This game's still happening, but looking very good for Nouns. There's a pushback with Drow, though. As soon as Slark jumps in, of course, these kicks are just game-winning right at this point. It's another kickback. Isle's going to die. He buys back. Slark in the knockup with the Walrus Punch. Having to beat KB, though, and pounce away. But the Rax is falling. And the second one about to go down here as well. The bottom lane just kind of naturally pushing in, too. And there's going to only be 1 Rax up between Vici Gaming and having Mega Creeps spawned against them right now in game 2.
Yeah, they still got the melee in the range bot, but not for long. Nouns are plowing forward. They know the puck has no way back in the game. They've got double cheese and Nagus to play with, and they want to use it. Io gets caught out. Gone from half HP in the blink of the eyes. And Z-Freak, look at the zoning on this end. From start to finish, she has been the bane of their existence. And Nouns are getting big points on the board. They will 2-0 Vici Gaming.
NA Dota, baby. No, this is impressive. It really is. On a serious note, I mean, again, even I, being an NA fan, a Z-Freak fan specifically, the idea that they were going to be able to, get some big victories here, frankly, it was going to be a difficult task. And it was a difficult task, but they, like we said, they finished off strong yesterday against Secret. They managed to pull through the victory in a good game, too. And here they are now today. They go 2-0 against a strong Vici Gaming.